Yeah, we should be out of the ad now, right? Yeah? Yeah, we're out of the ad now. Hey, welcome everybody. Let's turn down the music a little loud, which is kind of funny because it is a Harmonic Saint song too, by the way. Following the dim twinkle in the deep dream. If you guys already knew about that song, it actually is the song for Harmonic Saint. You guys want to see it? Get out, right? Yeah, here it is. Hang on. There you go. It's pretty funny. I just came to this song. Talk about Harmonic Saint for what it is and what's going on. What the thought process of Harmonic Saint is and like what's gonna happen for and all that fancy stuff. That simple stuff. Simple, easy, straightforward, right? All that. Yeah, you're supposed to be not here. What are you doing? Whatever. We're talking about Harmonic Saint today. Yeah. Woo. Harmonic Saint. Yeah. The support of Arcana. Yeah. The only support of Arcana, too. I wish they made another support of Arcana. Support Arcana is actually really powerful, really cool, really nice. Something tells me they're not going to be making any support of Arcanas for like a solid minute, though. When I mean a solid minute, I don't suspect any support of Arcana for like maybe the next like two, maybe three sets of Arcana. So I'm not gonna lie. Mama Niggy's not really, too trend when it comes to support of kind of stuff. But yeah, so let's get started on the first thing about the pros and cons about Harmonic Saint because I'm gonna be very honest with you. Harmonic Saint is kind of more. I would just get to that point when we get to that point, okay? I got my Harmonic Saint to Link 9 like 3 days ago after I log in again because I had to gold to do so. That's expensive. Alright, so the pros of Harmonic Saint. Lots of utility. Kinda tanky, kinda tanky. It's kinda nice. It's kinda bulky. Really cool. Um, you can't really deal a lot of damage like the Outer Arcanas, so you're pretty much the weakest one when it comes to damage dealing. The learning curve from Harmonic Saint is pretty high. I'm not gonna lie, it's probably one of the more difficult learning curves that the game does to you. And I wish a lot of people do wish to notice this a lot more about Harmonic Saints because it's a lot to take in as a Harmonic Saint. Because there's just so many variables that you need to be doing as a Harmonic Saint. It's a little ridiculous. There's a lot of gear swapping for Harmonic Saints. I mean, ridiculously amount of Harmonic Saint gear swapping. Uh, Gear swapping and all that stuff will be definitely something that I will be talking about inside this guide right now, inside Harmonic Saint, because Harmonic Saint's biggest thing about it, right? Its biggest pro is that it has a lot of utility, right? And that's its biggest thing. And you're going to be swapping a lot of gear, right? You are the debuffer. Keep that in mind. It can become a huge issue for people who are trying to solo the game. You are the debuffer. You are the buffer. You are the utility. You are the support. Keep that in mind. You are the support. You are not a healer. You are the support. You are the backbone to the team. You're there to help them and help yourself. You're there to deal damage and heal them. You're there to help. Okay? You're not there just to sit around and just party heal, okay? So let's get to the more honest part about this. Is to be honest with you all. This Arcana is really punishing really, really early into the game. If anything, it's really punishing in any part of the game. It's because of the learning curve of Harmonic Saints have. It's just a little too drastic, and a lot of information is provided anywhere, like at all. It's stuff that you have to manually like go out of your way and like try to learn by yourself. And there's no like good guide for it. There's no like good talks about it. There's no other Harmonic Saints stuff talking about it. There's not like there's no rotation for it. There's no like gear setups or like equipment setups. There's no advantages about this monster or disadvantage to this monster when it comes to Harmonic Saint. There's like little bits and pieces there, of Harmonic Saint that they do bring out. A good example is like at Crom 100, right? Having a Harmonic Saint using the Hand of Salvation removes Urson like one hit thing, and that's all it really is. But there isn't anything else, right? Like there's like a few things, like Harmonic Saint Link 10 can revive themselves regardless of life link. It's like Glen Burnham. Harmonic Saints can revive themselves within Phantasm and Crom, regardless that it's, not doesn't allow you and stuff. Like there's just there isn't just enough information about that kind of stuff that's provided like out into the public. There's a lot of it out in the public, but people don't spread it. So most of the stuff is usually hush hush or just not acknowledged enough, let alone talked about enough. Because Harmonic Saints are either one or two sides. Either the ones that are really common, which are the ones that are usually just the healers and only healing, and they prioritize on only healing. And I'm gonna be really honest with you, Harmonic Saint is not a healer. I'm sorry, but there is a main reason why Harmonic Saints are not just a healer. Harmonic Saints are more of a supportive role, and they're like the backbone of pretty much any. They're very strong. They're very utility heavy, and they can really, really make or break some team cores as well. They're really great for what they do. Believe me, there is so many videos out there right now that inside data teams that can kill data within under 6 seconds because they have one harmonic saint and three DDs. They can kill data within under 6 seconds, and it's really cool. It's really impressive. You can't do that with four DDs. There's just not enough like damage down for it to happen to data, and it's really cool. Human harmonic saints forced to brio. Yeah, harmonic is forced to like debuff and buff everybody. It's a really high skill ceiling thing, and I'm gonna be honest with you, healing should be like the last thing for harmonic saints to focus on. It should be the 100% the last thing they should focus on. Healing wands are nice, Trinity sets are nice, healing like titles nice and all, but they should be like the very last thing you should ever think about on any set, any time in this game. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, whenever you start out this game, right, and you have a choice of what kind of arcana you want to pick into and want to get into and specialize in, right? I'm gonna be really honest with you. I strongly ill advise picking Harmonic Saint when you're playing by yourself. It is probably the most gruesome, punishing, expensive arcana there is, especially early game, because you just do not gain any damage at all. You gain no utility that early inside the game as well. You basically just picked Harmonic Saint because you saw healing. You thought, oh, I could be a healer, and that's not what Harmonic Saint is. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. If you pick Harmonic Saint because you're a team of like friends, right? You get like three other friends with you, and they pick the other Arcanas, and then there's you who's like, oh man, I can be the support of the team. Then that's fine. That's perfectly fine. That means you're going to be playing with your team members. You're going to be playing with them. Just know, like in mid game and then late game, there's going to be a lot of things that you will need to solo by yourself, and it's going to be really hard. Just keep that in mind. The Harmonic Saint is a lot harder than the other Arcanas, especially when it comes to soloing stuff. It's gonna be really hard for you. Just keep that in mind. Alright, so we're gonna actually get into the early game stuff here pretty fast. Um there is actually something really different about this one compared to any other Arcana. So normally our top priority is finishing Bladed, getting our techs from tech normals, getting our forgetful rebirth potions to get our links higher, getting a bunch of gems and money from like dungeons, Beltane, or vet dungeons, getting our renown. But then you see this. You see extra equipment slots and like 30-day slots. Keep in mind that VIP combat also replaces this, but I just kept those in there because they're a lot more common. I'm gonna be really honest with you. These are not really yeah, these are not really needed as a harmonic saint, but it does make a huge difference later on inside the mid game to late game. Stardust is always nice. Totems should be always something on the side. In your spirit, 100% be last. I'm not saying it needs only a saint. No, it doesn't. Red upgrades and blue upgrades are actually will be pretty much the best that you're going to be picking depending on which kind of weapon that you're going to be using. Your link Arcanas will be the last thing to be thinking about. I'm gonna be honest with you, because the only biggest jumps when it comes to any form of utility or DPS, when it comes to Harmonic Saint or game difference, will happen on Link 3, which is 50 magic attack. Link 5, where you get 200 magic attack, and you also get this little musical note underneath your character. I keep forgetting what the name of it is, but it saves their ability, which is actually really nice, really convenient. Link 7, really powerful. It really helps out. It gives you 20 protection, 20 magic protection, really big. And then Link 8 also provides an extra boost into your Voice of Vitality, getting stronger. Those ones are like the biggest ones to be the biggest ones. And then that Bop also has a faster cooldown by 60 seconds, and it lasts 2 seconds longer. Anything within Link 1, 2, 4, 6, 9, or 10 are completely useless and don't really help out or really drastically change that anyway. So links when it comes to Harmonic Saint should be like something you should think about like later on. It should be not really focus on too much, because most of your utility would be available to that early and mid. The only time that it's not available to you is like the super early game when you unlock Harmonic Saint for the first time. But that's okay. The highest you can heal at that point of the game, to be honest with you, is around 1.2k. And that's with basically nothing on. And you don't even have that kind of helpful anyways. To keep 1.2k. Don't worry, once the Harmonic Saint buff comes across, Harmonic Saints will become a lot stronger, but it won't really affect anything inside the early game. Okay, so let's talk about the debuffs when it comes to Harmonic Saints and what they're going to be focusing on the most, pretty much. This is pretty much going to be your job and only your job. It's going to be basically Fate Weaving the boss and Fate Weaving your teammates. That's right. You're going to Fate Weaver other people, not yourself, not like other people, not other Arcanas. You're going to understand Harmonic Saint is the buffer and debuffer, and you're pretty much the guy who needs to constantly be fading everyone and fading the boss. You're pretty much the human that's gonna brio it. You're the giant who's gonna brio it. Even at elf, you're gonna brio and prag it at the same time. That's why whenever I come to my set inside the game itself, right? There's a reason why I have a demigod set with the brio set itself and prag inside its own set. It's purely because of that. It's just a set off brio. It's a set off prag at the same time. Really nice, really helpful, and can really, really help out a lot of teammates. Your third thing will be always death mark. Always, you're going to be the person death marking unless you have a really awful death mark out of the entire team. Someone else can definitely death mark if your teammates talk about it, but if no one else has a better death mark than yours, then you're pretty much death marking. Anyone can death mark. It's just you're pretty much priority number one whenever it comes to death marking. Of course, will be always nice from a Harmonic Saint versus everyone else. This gives some uptime for some DPS, such as a Chemical Stinger. Your next thing would pretty much be helping out with uptime for any other Arcana, to be honest with you. We'll be placing Hydra because of its end lag, Smokescreen because of its end lag, and Uppercut because of its end lag. All of these have small end lags. But having someone else that's dedicated to do all this stuff is really nice, really helpful. It is always viable to see what teammates would like to do this as well to apply the debuffs faster. Keep that in mind. You just don't want one person to do all this, right? But it would be really nice to have it spread out with teammates. Even if you have a Harmonic Saint, just try to put the Harmonic Saint to prioritize on Hydra or Smokescreen a lot more though, because both of these have a longer end lag for Uppercut or like Fantastic Chorus. Both of these are really long end lags, the Smokescreen and Hydra. I strongly recommend if you're a Harmonic Saint to take priority over the Hydra and Smokescreen, purely because you have to take advantage of that end lag. The other Arcanas cannot accept. A Chemical Stinger needs to upkeep its damage per second and needs to upkeep that damage. Same thing when it comes to EK. EK needs to upkeep its damage and constantly keep damaging stuff. EK can apply its uppercut. Harmonic Saint can apply Hydra and Smokescreen. Fantastic Chorus can be applied by Harmonic Saint, but also can be applied by DD as there's no downtime to do it as well. It can also be applied a green one for a chemical stinger as well for their own like purpose for being selfish and stuff. But that's the thing. You're gonna understand from your perspective and your teammates' perspective of which ones will be taking advantage of each debuff. This is pretty much your number one job as a Harmonic Saint. Is to know who's debuffing and who's buffing and which, priorities are you going to be taking. A DD can easily put down this red circle, an EK can simply put down this red circle. The selfish DPS of a chemical stinger will put down the circle for themselves for the green circle. So keep that in mind. They won't be really helping the team. They're just going to put this down for themselves. They might place down a green circle on top of you in case you need it, but it's mostly going to be up to the three main like close ones, which will be you as a Harmonic Saint, EK, and Dark Diviner. When it comes to Hydra and Smokescreen, if you do have a Harmonic Saint, you will be prioritized to put these down yourself for helping out other team members because these are damage increase for yourself as well. Uppercut should be placed by either the EK or the Akamako Stinger whenever he gets really close, but that's a rare occasion. It's mostly going to be by the EK player because they would need to close gap distance. That's pretty much the only time you would be seeing uppercut. If you really need to, right, and if you see yourself as a Harmonic Saint, don't see that debuff on, you pretty much need to do it yourself. Because this is the story of a Harmonic Saint. You will need to start doing your own, you will need to start learning debuffs and how they look like inside the screen. You would need to constantly look at like all the debuffs. You have to count every single debuff. And if you really want to, and this is why I mentioned that Harmonic Saint is a really high skill ceiling, you have to keep in mind on how long some of these debuffs are. And you can be drastically really long, by the way. Like easy ones to see are like Hydra. Hydra is a really easy one to see if it's gone or not. Because if it's gone, then it's gone. You sleep to the Glen. You won BGM I have. Let's go. Smokescreen is kind of annoying to see. I'm not gonna lie, it's probably one of the ones that a lot of people don't really see that often because you smokescreen, you're like, well, it's on it. And then 30 seconds later, you're like, did I put it on? I don't know. Did I put it on? I don't know. I don't remember. And I think that's the main problem with smokescreen. It's also because you can't really refresh it as well. So smokescreen definitely needs to have like some ability to like recover it. Hang on, let me quickly bring this up here. I thought I had this ready, but I guess I don't. The photo I had. Why not have? I swear. There it is. I'm gonna say, I swear I had this like laying around. Here it is. You constantly need to keep in mind of like every single debuff there is. This also includes like Foxy Quen, Well buff. The cat one. The cat one actually goes out very top of here and replaces the bone one. Keep that in mind. But for bone and mirror, right? You would see the mirror one, you would see the magic one, the Sensar one, and then you would see two of these colors, the red and blue one for magic and physical damage. And you would need to look out uppercut and smokescreen. And you got a dance to death, and you got a support shot. By the way, the support shot part is only for EK players. If you don't have an EK, you don't need to support shot or rage impact. Just keep that in mind. And you got to upkeep with Fate Weaver and have a water balloon on your cart. I haven't talked about these guys at all, or even Dance of Death at all, because these things will be something that we'll be talking about inside later game, like late game to early end game. Purely because Dance of Death and these cards require some form of pay to win. And not really Dance of Death. Dance of Death is pretty free, but Dance of Death is kind of like the shortest cooldown there is. But there is a lot of things you can totally Dance of Death and take advantage of. There's a lot of things around Dance of Death that I really like to talk about, but I'll talk about it later on inside its own separate thing. But you gotta understand, as a Harmonic Saint, you need to keep in mind of all these debuffs are constantly, and this is all just physical damage, by the way. This is all physical, like DPS, right? This isn't even showing like the magic one at all. This isn't showing Hydra. This isn't showing like Red Circle. This isn't showing Blue Cat. It's not showing Sensar. It's not even showing Cat Set Attack. We're not even showing off like Corgi because Corgi is really awful. I'm sorry. I'm gonna tell everyone the truth about this. Corgi is probably the worst physical and defense, magic protection reducer there is because it just doesn't work in almost any scenario anywhere instead of mid game. And when I talk about mid game, I'm talking about like hard mode techs. I'm talking about Glen normals. I'm talking about Crom 30%. When I'm talking about late game, I'm talking about like 40% Crom. I'm talking about like it's still gonna be just Glen normals. Not gonna lie, it's gonna be more like just getting used to those kind of stuff, right? I don't consider tech hard mode or Glen normal as anything as like late game or end game. Personally, I think all of that stuff should be considered as mid game purely because one, you need everything from those sources. Two, all those sources really help out into the mid game so well, so perfectly aligned. It's wonderful how good they are. But a lot of people do try to put techs and Glen normal as more of a late game thing, and I completely disagree with them. It's not considered as late game. I think Tex and Glen Normal should be considered as mid game, as well Crown 30s, purely because they do offer a lot of resources that mid game that are really wonderful and really helpful, like Spirit Gems, a lot of Spirit Gems, a lot of Smolderings, a lot of Frostflame, a lot of gems, and I mean gems, a lot of like just pure gold by itself too. And I think the main reason why people don't think that Tex and Glen Normals and Crom 30% are not considered as mid game is purely because people want to solo them. And I completely disagree with them. I don't think that's a healthy habit. I think that's kind of a more of a blunt or like a double edged sword on yourself than it. But still, regardless, that's not really the point of the guide. The point of this guide, right, is to show off how much Harmonic Saint needs to be focusing on. Harmonic Saint will need to keep constantly upkeeping these debuffs, constantly keep in mind of everything that's going on. Like completely focus on all this. And this isn't even talking about like your teammates as of this moment, by the way. There's a lot of things you can do for your teammates, but I won't talk about that kind of stuff because most of that stuff that goes to your teammates will be on later stuff, like early late game, because they are nice to have, but they're not necessary. So, yeah. So let's talk about gear when it comes to harmonic same. Now I know I'm not going to be talking about the skills because there is something about the skills I really want to get into depth and really talk about pretty deeply about. But for now, right, let's talk about the gear that you're going to be doing once you start out the game. You're with a bunch of team members, right? This is for both solo and with team members, okay? So here's the thing. When you start out the game and you're with a bunch of team members, like up to 3 other members, right? You have an alchemical singer, you have EK player, you have a dark diviner player, and then there's you. Look at you. Look how happy you are. You're a harmonic saint. You're barely starting the game. You're starting Maba Niggy. Yay! Look at you. You look adorable. Look at this. You got your little flower blossoming guitar, and you're like, this is really cute. I love this. You're enjoying yourself playing as a bard, you're the support of the team. Maybe you heal sometimes there whenever your EK needs it, or your Dark Diviner because they don't have Mana Shield available to you. That's easy. Then you guys go further into the missions and you start doing Saga. You get episode 5, you get a demonic gloomy, and you're like so happy about it. You're like, oh my god, my first upgrade. This is really cool. My first demonic weapon. Really awesome. This is like mid game, and then you finally like entering in early late game, and you're like, oh man, it's time to do like chronicles and stuff. And then that's where it gets ruined completely. And now you're by yourself trying to get any kind of upgrades, and you're getting your butt kicked because everything is kicking your butt. Not really kicking your butt. They're kind of like pushing you to the wall and kind of cornering you because you don't have any form of like iframes or anything like that. You kind of depend on almost like a 5 minute cooldown on your bop at this point of the game. You're getting bullied inside a corner. You can't really solo the Chronicle mission as of this moment because you need more magic attack and stuff. You pick up a wand, like a Celtic wand. You need to buy this, by the way. You can't do it without it. I try to, And brother, it was really annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Chronicles without any form of like Arcana DPS is actually really annoying because there's just so much things you need to set up before you can do Chronicles efficiently, and you just get beaten up pretty easily, pretty fast. And it was just really hard to do. I kind of went back and forth with an argument with myself by using the Blinded Wands, right? But the Blinded Wand is red upgrade, so it doesn't provide enough magic attack. So it was counterintuitive to have it. So I needed to buy a Celtic wand to have a blue upgraded. And that was the only way I could survive most of the damage from the Chronicle boss itself. Because the Chronicle boss really can punish you pretty harshly if you just don't have enough magic attack, let alone enough damage. It's actually really surprising. I thought it would be a lot easier, but no, it really kicks your butt pretty harshly. And this is keep in mind, I only had the two equipments. I had only the demonic gloomy and the Celtic wand. I didn't have anything else. I didn't have things to iframe as much as I really wanted to. I was like, how do people like play this game without extra equipment slots? And it really punishes you pretty badly. Like Chronicles alone really punishes you. So I thought, the best thing I could think of is using alchemy with my wand as well. Because there's isn't really any inexpensive like shield that can really help out at that point of the game, right? So I thought maybe this will really help out, it would make a difference. I can wind blast things, I can wind blast stuff away, it could be really helpful. And it did. It actually did the job, it can wind blast stuff, it's actually really useful. It's really nice. That's why I placed it in here. The thing is, you can still fail the mission if you can't get the obelisks down within time because there's two obelisks that require hit count, and you just don't have enough stuff to hit that hit count. Even with thunder spamming, right? It's really hard. So I need to introduce smoke screen. I need to introduce uppercut. I need to introduce grapple shot into it, and that was really the only way I can really efficiently do Chronicles is to get other equipment, and it was really harsh even with the other equipment. It made it a lot easier, but Harmonic Saint versus Chronicles, right, was really punishing, and it was really hard. I'm not gonna lie, especially really early into game. Anything that's solo, right, is really punishing for a Harmonic Saint player that's starting out from early, getting into. So I'll be really honest with you, Harmonic Saint when it does starting out and stuff isn't the most fun at all. Harmonic Saint with a team of members is really fun because you guys get to fuck around and learn your skills and stuff. It was actually really like adventurous playing around with new people, learning Arcana and stuff. We have gotten mad about the dragon part because of mining the flints. It took almost like 3 weeks to get to that point, by the way. And it was just really annoying because everyone needed to do it. But it was really fun though. It was really fun just to enjoy the time with your friends as Harmonic saying. But whenever you're trying to solo stuff, oh boy, it is the most miserable experience in the world. And I mean this anywhere, any point of the game. It is very unfun. It like really kicks your butt, it corners you, it pushes you legitimately at the edge of it. Like, I mean, Morgan's fight was so annoying because everything before Morgan was like final hitting you and stuff. It was not a fun experience. It really wasn't. Anything that involves just you playing as you was not fun at all. It felt so bad and it felt so awful. Firebolt spamming was like a huge help, and lightning bolt spamming was just such a game changer for dungeons whenever I need to solo them in some generations. But man, whenever you need to face like a boss or something, it was just really either it goes one or another. Either one, I kill it within one hit, or you pretty much die to it. You don't really die to it because you're Harmonic Saint, so you can keep constantly healing yourself and stuff. But man, it was just not fun getting pushed to a corner of a room and just waiting for Bob to set off. Sure, I take a bunch of ones, but like, Jesus Christ, let me stand up, brother. Let me attack you. Not a good experience. Not a good experience. But yeah, I would like. I'll be frank. Harmonic Saint is just not a DPS in Arcana. It really isn't. It's one of the more like high ceiling like skill like Arcanas that requires a lot of like in depth like taking advantage of what you're facing. You know, it's not like being EK that allows you to just go in and attack stuff and then get out, right? It's not like Dark Diviner where you can be within range and you can recover mana by casting your spells, right? It's not like a Chemical Stinger where you can shoot stuff from really far away and kill them from that range. You're pretty much just kind of in the middle of everybody where you're not too close, but you're not too far, but like you're not right next to anybody, but you don't have the damage output for it. It's kind of more of a like how can I take advantage of this kind of like kind of deal. You know, it's kind of that kind of role. And I'll be really frank with you, there isn't really any traps for Harmonic Saints or anything like that. Because the gear for Harmonic Saint really depends on what you're debuffing with and which one applies the most out of everything. And I think that's the main reason why I didn't make a trash can for this, because there is a lot of things that are really trappy, not really good stuff. But like a lot of it is just more of quality of life stuff that Harmonic Saints don't even need or else really push you. Playing all these like really dark and sad stuff. But like Harmonic Saint as a player as itself, right? It's perfectly fine. They can be powerful. They're really nice to have inside a party. And it's ridiculously really great to have someone that can do both Brio and Pragging, someone that can fate you. It's really nice. Don't get me wrong. Having someone to fate you constantly is a really huge help. The thing is, I really need people to start like realizing that Harmonic Saints are just not healers, right? Harmonic Saints like biggest things are being utility and bring like full weapon gears and sets to help out with the team. And that's the biggest thing about Harmonic Saint. It's more of a supportive role. It's not a healer. You are the support. You are the utility. You are the buffer and debuffer. You are the backbone of everything. You're really nice to have, but you only need one. You don't need so many of them. Some people can take on different roles. Some people can really take advantage of it. It's really nice and stuff. Or you can be a total Chad and just simply use your skills. All right, so let's learn about the skills, shall we? So this is the reason why I put the learning skills as the last section when it comes to all this stuff, because I wanted to talk about the big four ones and then the fun things about Heim and Resurrection. We won't talk about these two because these two are pretty irrelevant for most things. I'm not gonna lie, these two should be like the last thing you should be focused on. I'm not gonna lie. I know a lot of people are gonna call me out on this, but here's the honest truth about these two skills, alright? I would start on both of them because I'm gonna be really, really honest with you. With the Harmonic Saint coming up here pretty soon, within the next 3-4 months here, Harmonic Saint has the ability now to heal stamina and mana, including the HP on top of it. This works for Hand of Resurrection, this works with Echo's Salvation. Here's the thing. I don't know anyone who thinks that this Hand of Salvation, the first one, the main focus one, would be really that helpful. As of this moment, the only time I have ever seen this thing be really that helpful at all, right, is whenever someone is like in super deadly. Like I mean super and I mean super duper deadly. And I mean super 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 deadly. And I mean really 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 deadly. That's legitimately the only time I ever see this actually be used properly. That's really the only time. It is more of a panic button than anything. That's all it is. But you know what else is better than just using this, right? Whenever someone is like really super deadly, right? especially with the Harmonic Saint update coming up. It's just bop it, bro. I don't know. It recovers 10% HP once the Harmonic Saint happens, no matter how deadly they are, and it gives them protection for the next actually 8 seconds. I don't know, man. Kind of makes this pretty irrelevant. I don't know, man. It's kind of it's okay. I don't know. It does one job and it does its job fine. You know, that's all it is. I've seen way too many people who use this thing and they use it on people who are like about like 3/4. Yeah, they use Hand of Salvation about like on 3/4 of someone's HP, and it just doesn't make any sense. Why would you give me the Hand of Salvation about 3/4 of my HP instead of giving me an Echo? If the Echo's off on cooldown, then I took damage after the Echo, okay? Then just let me take the damage. You know, instead of doing, Hand of Salvation to give me more HP or normal healing or, God forbid, party healing, just Fate me, you know? Fate does healing. That's kind of the biggest thing. Fate recovers HP. Fate recovers at most 100 HP, right? This means I need to at least hit 1k damage on something to recover HP. Yeah. And I don't think hitting 1k damage is not hard for anybody. Okay? Yeah. Keep in mind, this is on every single hit. This means I can thunder something and I can recover up to 600 health from one thunder. This is legitimately Arrow Revolver. All 5 hits count as HP recovery. That's 500 HP right there. On EK, just bash spamming on something will recover your HP about like up to 500. It's crazy. I just don't get it. What's the point of, a Hand of Salvation if I'm not in deadly or even close to dead? When in this exact same time, this would take you to take out your staff or healing wand or wand instead of just fading me with 5 and that's it. It doesn't even cost that much. It costs legitimately 1 remnant and you can just do it like that. That's it. Just 5, nothing else. That person doesn't need anything else. You want to give him more damage? Sure, fine, give it to him. That's it. 5, 2, 3, 1. That's all you need to do. You don't need to overthink this. You don't need to use Hand of Resurrection that much. It's legitimately a last effort ditch to heal someone when they're in deadly. Echo Salvation's actually not that bad. It's much better. Just use Echo Salvation. It's just better than Hand of Salvation. Sure, it doesn't recover enough HP. Sure, that's fine and all. But the fact that it gives you like recovery for mana and stamina over time, even with the update for Harmonic Saint, it's better. It's just better. I don't know why anyone wouldn't use this over like anything else, personally. Yeah. Okay, Hyme of Resurrection. Let me talk about something really funny about this and why I think Hand of Salvation is so useless. You understand? Because thanks to the new update, right? What they have done, that voice can now stay on you even if you die. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. You should just die and let me just Hyme and resurrect you. I'm not gonna lie. Just die, bro. Just die and let me just resurrect you. It's like the Mercy mentality, you know? Mercy's from Overwatch. All you need to do is just DPS, and then whenever someone dies, just revive them. And then if you really need to, just start healing them if you don't have your revive ready. But because this thing has such a low cooldown, the biggest disadvantage that Hyme of Resurrection has, by the way, is that it kills mana. And I mean when it kills mana, it kills your mana drastically. So honestly, if you see someone getting fucked up pretty badly, like they're in a corner, they're getting beaten up, there's like an Urson circle below them, there's like Giga Glass on them, like just killing them instantly, and then there's like just imagine a scenario, right? It's a whole square stadium. You see Urson, Giga Glass, and like Glenn Bernal hard mode on you on that one person, you're not gonna out heal it, brother. You might as well just accept it. Just say, hey, you're pretty much dead, bro. And then just time and resurrect them. The only scenario where I think this is not worth it to do that is inside Glen Burnham, because Glen Burnham has like life skill, right? But that's pretty much the only reason why. I'm so used to having prayer, I don't even notice. Back when I played, I never really had to have a problem following through that one skill to regain mana and potions. Yeah, it just eats mana like crazy though. Heimer Resurrection can eat up to around like I think it eats up to like sometimes 500 mana depending on what your mana pool is. It can really eat a lot by itself. It eats decently. The thing is, it uses your mana before you use the skill. So if you use the skill here, I can just show you guys right now. Nope. What about now? Am I outside now? Good. Um, I don't know why they even have that in. So right now I have over like let's put on my wands or my staff. I have 4.3k. If I just use time like say 5 times, let's go. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It puts me down to 3.8k. Just like that. It's a decent amount of of mana. It's a lot faster than like Meteor, which takes like absolutely it's not like Blaze or Lightning Rod. Lightning Rod just only takes a little bit as well. It's one of the more like higher ones that absolutely just eats your mana just like that. But like you're not spamming it, of course. It's like almost no scenario of you spamming this. I think the only scenario I've seen anyone spam this, right, is it's like Glen Burnham hard mode with everyone's pets out, soul links, right, and you're trying to revive them as much as possible. Like that's legitimately the only scenario I can think of. Legitimately the only scenario. But yeah, it's a viable tactic. The only time you ever need to use time and resurrection is whenever someone dies and you just revive them instantly. I should always tell you this right now. Resurrecting someone will always be the highest priority as a harmonic saint. No matter what happens, having that one person dead, right? There's absolutely no reason why to leave them dead. Even if you're going to be doing your debuffs, there's absolutely no other reason. You should revive that person as immediately as soon as possible in pretty much all scenarios, because having that one person dead on the floor means there's no damage outcome from them. There is no debuffs from them. There is no like aggro aggression taken from him. There is just so many downsides from it for just not having that person up, especially in Glen Burna. I know a lot of people who like to just sit there and just pretend they're dead, right? They're like, well, I'm just gonna die and wait for this and wait this out while you guys do this. That's not okay. You should get back up and get ready to fight. Just get ready. Just buff yourself. If you need buffs from the Harmonic Saint, just ask for buffs from the Harmonic Saint and just get ready. Just get mentally prepared, you know? You should not be down. That is a huge damage decrease if you're just staying down, no matter what the scenario is. The only time I see anyone use this for absolute means is inside Giga Glass, where you see your teammate inside the black hole and you revive them and they die instantly again. That's like the funniest shit you can do. Believe me, you should keep doing that. I think it's the funniest thing you can do. Who cares that Giga Glass just gained 20 more percentage of damage? Who cares? Let your friend die inside the black hole again. Tell him how bad he is. Let him feel the punishment. All right, next one. Voice of Fatality. Voice of Fatality is really, really good. And I mean really good. I don't know why people completely ignore this thing at times. I really wish people actually gave it more respect because it's really wonderful what it does. It recovers 50 like HP over time inside the early games to mid games. it will start to recover like 75 HP per second every single inside the late game. Really nice. And once you reach Link 7 as well, you will also get provided 20 protection and 20 magic protection. This 20 protection can make or break on some scenarios, especially for a chemical stinger, and it can make and break on some EK limits as well. This is really big. For Dark Diviners, this isn't really that big at all, but it is really nice that it can make or break on a Chemical Stinger and Elemental Knight. Really big, really noticeable, really nice, really powerful. I just wish a lot of people kind of like respected it a lot more and gave it more acknowledgement. I should also tell you this right now. If voice is on, this is another reason why I think Hand of Resurrection, this hand of Salvation is worse. Just let your voice of Vitality heal them. Just let it heal. It stays on people when they're dead now. You don't need to revoice that often anymore. It's honestly really cool, really powerful. Just let the hand of the voice of Vitality just give them HP over time. It recovers wounds over time too. It's honestly really overpowered, and I wish they did something about it. But honestly, I can't imagine a world of nerfing this thing because it's just really that good. It's just really that wonderful. That's why I still think Hannah Salvation's just pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. When Voice of Fatality exists, when Echo Salvation exists, and Blessing of Protection exists, and Heim of Resurrection exists, there's absolutely almost no scenario where you're going to be using hand unless you really are limited on how many devs you can. It's legitimately the only time I can think of. Like even in Crom, just let them die, bro. Just Heim them. Inside Phantasm, just Heim them. The only places I can think of where you don't want to use Heim at all is Data and Glen Burnham. That's legitimately the only two scenarios because no one should be dying. All right, next one. Blessing of Protection. Oh boy. The amount of good things I could talk about Blessing of Protection. Blessing of Protection neglects all forms of damage to 0 or 1 at the most minimum. Blessing of Protection is based on your Lullaby rank. It's also based on the reforges as well of how much Lullaby does. Not Lullaby, sorry. Enduring Melody, right? Enduring Melody does affect this. Keep that in mind. I will talk about what affects these two as well. These two right here and this one of Paul and something behind this one. We will talk about those later on. But for right now, Blessing of Protection does get affected by about a few reforges. It gets affected by Enduring Melody. It gets affected Enduring Melody Mana Recovery, Enduring Melody Stamina Recovery, Enduring Melody Protection, Defense, Magic Protection, and Magic Defense. It does get all affected. However, I should tell you this right now. Enduring Melody only provides the base minimum of that reforge. What I mean by that is that with Blessing of Protection, right? Blessing of Protection at its highest level will provide 12 magic protection, right? This is the lowest it can do. It actually goes really increasingly high because of your magic protection on because of your Enduring Melody rank, right? Because it would give it more, right? The thing is, right? This base 12 that it has right here is what is calculated with the reforge on top of it. This means the reforge is calculated before your skill comes in. So the highest you can have on Enduring Melody on your accessories for magic protection is 3 on both of them. This means this 12 would become an 18, and then it would do the calculations on your Enduring Melody skill. And that's why Enduring Melody with Blessing Protection increases your magic defense, magic protection really high. As you can see, it's 157. So if we use magic protection right now, right, it goes up to 319. That's not 12. But we start going down, as you can see, out 319, it stays there, and then what goes back down to 157. As you can see, I gained over 150 like magic protection. Just like that. Even though it says only 12. That's because the scaling on it is based on your Enduring Melody, not your Enduring Melody buff itself. It's just the Enduring Melody rank. So it provides 150 at rank 1. But with the accessories, it will only provide 6 more magic protection on top of it. You're getting where I'm getting now? So I'm gonna be honest with you. Enduring protection, Enduring Melody protection, and Enduring Melody magic protection accessories are not the way to go. It will only give at most 6 more protection on top of everything, and it's just not that helpful. It's nice and cool to look at, but it really is not a game changer or a game difference or like that. If anything, once Harmonic Saint update comes in, we're going to be mostly playing BFO with Grand Melody or BFO with March Song, but that'd be something that'd be talked about inside the late game of Harmonic Saint. That'd be something completely different. It's the same story with Echo of Salvation, where it gets affected by Enduring Melody when it comes to its mana and stamina recovery. Now, you might think that stamina mana recovery from the Reforge would be really powerful because it is a percentage base. Sadly, it is not. I'm sorry to say that the recovery amount that it provides when it comes to Echoes of Ocean only provides it by one single digit. That's right. So instead of recovering, if you actually did this right now with its math, right, because it's on a boot reforge, if you use any form of Echo of Salvation, over here, additional recovery speed is based on Dorian Melody skill rank, and as you can see, it does 1600 on mana recovery and stamina recovery. Keep in mind, this will be changed later on inside the Harmonic Saint update, where it would just simply just only give HP, MP, and stamina just straight up, just like that. But it is the same story. With the recovery rate, with the boot reforge of Enduring Melody of recovery rate percentage, it's just not good enough. It only gives it 10 more points on both of them at the maximum level. It's not too swell. So reforges for Harmonic Saint are pretty mid, I'm not gonna lie. Alright. Polar Nation, the pole, the bread and butter of Harmonic Saint. The one thing that makes Harmonic Saint so amazingly powerful. It is ultimately downright the main reason why you should have a Harmonic Saint. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to have voice. It is nice to have Blessing of Protection. It's nice to have Heim. It's nice to have Echo and Echo's Hanato. But if you have a Harmonic Saint that does not pull, you might as well just not have the Harmonic Saint. Just go DD at that point, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Pull is so overpowered. It's so disgusting. It is absolutely game breaking. And I can totally understand why they don't allow you to time shift this thing. This thing is so disgusting and so broken. It is amazing how powerful Polar Ruination is. I don't think you guys understand how good it is. We're decreasing its magic defense by 75, magic protection by 25, including on top of that additional magic defense and magic protection and normal defense and protection, depending on your depending on your chance of death, right? I don't think you understand how much this actually does. You know how much protection it actually does? You know how much it actually does? Get ready for this. Polar Ruination. What it actually does, with everything on top of it, does negative 45 protection. I don't think you understand how big negative 45 magic protection and is. You know how many piercing levels that is? You really want to know? That's almost 4 levels of just pure piercing, no matter what the scenario is. It is outright so good and so powerful. It is just so disgusting to have this as any party. It works wonders on Glenburna hard mode. It works wonders in Glenburna. It works amazing in Crom. It works amazing against Gigaglass. It works amazing at Ursa. It works amazing on all tech bosses. It works on pretty much every scenario that involves a boss. And the only scenario I can think of that this is not good is inside the Echo Stone dungeon, which is Sid Finach. Because Sid Finach only has 30 protection, so you can honestly just destroy his protection with a bone and mirror, and that's all you really need. That's legitimately all it needs. You don't need to pull him. But if you really wanted to and don't want to summon any like anything at all, Polar Ruination is there, bro. You just need to cast this once on him, and bam, that guy has zero protection on everything. It's amazing how powerful this this skill is. It's out of this world. It does not get affected by any reforges. There's no reforges that can support it. There's nothing that really helps it out. The only thing you can really do is do pre-buffs, which is basically Fate Weaver stuff, and then get the increased amount of more defense and protection and magic defense reduction on. Whole Ruination is the biggest thing about Harmonic Saint. And if you're not using this whenever you call it out, right? Because in almost every single team scenario, right, you should always call out when you're going to pull. Always. No matter what the scenario is. It is overly overtuned. It is overly overpowered. And it's just really, really, really disgusting how good the skill is. And I don't think you guys understand how like game changing the skill is. Hang on, let me quickly show you guys an example of what I mean. Um, no, it's not. That is someone doing okay though. Where is it? I gotta show you guys this because it's kind of insane. This? No, it's not. Dang, hang on. I gotta show it to you guys how impressive this is. Because it's just really crazy. It really is. It's nuts. Dang, how's it searching it? Doing everything. Ah, now what's it? Oh, now it shows. Blah 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 blah. Blah. That one. That's the Golem farm thing. Dang, where's this Harmonic Saint clearing farms to Taiwan? Absolutely like destroys it. I found the EK one, but not the Harmonic. Maybe it's made by December. Just maybe. Maybe, hang on. Is it? No, it's not. Bummer. This is a farm study video about Harmonic Saint. Just look up. What do you mean you just need the fast one? There's so many clues now because people are trying to show off and one up each other. Wait, one? Yeah, it's this one. Okay, hang on. Let me show you guys this video here. Let me fast. There you go. So this guy did Harmonic Saint for Farms Dirty. This is pretty much like his whole setup. It's really impressive how powerful Paul is. I don't think you understand how powerful Paul is. But I mean, it's disgusting how good Paul is. And I mean, oh man, Paul is just really ridiculous. Just him setting up the rapes right now. It's the point where he's done with his buffs. Also, if you guys are wondering what this little red circle is, this is Fantastic Chorus. Taiwan is actually pretty open about showing off their mods and stuff. It's not allowed, don't get me wrong. All of this stuff is not allowed. But Taiwan and is pretty open about like everything what they don't really care who sees it. Fine who's they really don't. Which is kind of surprising because they're pretty open about multi-climbing and all that stuff. You can see that he has a party up here. He's ready to join this party. You see what I mean by this? As you can see, he already used up his Paul right there at that very moment. Check this out. So there's Paul right there, right? Paul sets off. It hits her. He's starting to meteor cast spam it. There's 1.8. There's 2, huh? You again. 1.4. And then he joins a party to pull it again. That's right. He joined a party to get Brachamum Explosion to set off to pull on the Succubus Queen again and clears Palms Dirty. That was it. Palms Dirty cleared as a Harmonic Saint, as a giant. That's it. But yeah, Polar Ruination. Really disgusting. Be the Harmonic Saint. Be the one, you know? Be the ultimate Chad, you know? Call out your polls. Get ready for setups, you know? Know your like what your teammates are doing and take advantage of Pole. Pole is honestly really something really disgusting. It is so good. It is so amazing. But like I mentioned before, if you're a Harmonic Saint and you just don't pull anything, you might as well just go play DD. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm not gonna lie to you. If you're just a Harmonic Saint and you just don't pull anything at all, then you might as well just not play her. It's nice to have the bop, don't get me wrong. It's nice to have the voice of vitality and it's nice to have the echo. It's nice to have this instant res that's very convenient. But if you're not pulling, then you're just not really helping. I know that sounds really rude, but it's the honest truth. Pull is the main like bread and butter of Harmonic Saint. And if you're just not gonna use it, then just tell your teammates that you're not gonna use it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, you might as well just swap to Dark Dimension at that point. Because not having Paul at any boss scenario as a Harmonic Saint, then you're just not really being that helpful. If anything, you're basically just like -1 at that point, Frank. I know that sounds really mean, but it's the honest truth. Okay, now let's talk about the big one, the biggest one out of everything else in the background, right? You ready for this? The biggest one out of all of them. Oh boy. I already know. I'm just gonna get rest. Okay, so let's talk about it. Also purification, right? You know, but you're doing it anyways. Okay, pulse of purification. As of this moment, it does 3k damage within intervals within the 7 meters of your circle, right? Your character gets rooted, you get stuck, and you can get knocked out of it by even using Iron Well and stuff. It kills you over time, but you know, your harmonic saying you have your voice on all the it increases all the way up to 10.8k. It also has 3 piercing on it on default. This means it's the best thing you can use with this is actually with a Nightbringer one because of the increased critical damage. But you can use it with your elemental staff, like with a rain staff if you really want to. It's kind of like a min kind of thing. Here's the thing. With Harmonic Saint update coming up here, this thing becomes a placeable thing. And what I mean by placeable thing, I mean you just get you're allowed to just simply just place it there and just keep it there. And that's it. Harmonic Saint update really changes up a lot of stuff for Harmonic Saint. And I mean this. It really changes a lot. It makes this terrible, awful skill into such an amazing skill. And I mean this. It becomes such an amazing skill. Let me quickly show you guys what I'm talking about. Because Harmonic Saint update completely changes how Harmonic Saints play. So you guys know everything about what's gonna happen, right? We're gonna get the Harmonic Saint update. We're gonna get EK update. We're gonna get the Glen Burnett Elite update as well. Yada yada yada. Blah 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 blah. You know that stuff. So let me just show you what the simple like what goes through a Harmonic Saint when any of that stuff happens. And I mean that. Friday I'll be doing Harmonic Saint inside Glen Hard mode later that night. Today is Wednesday. See you guys there Friday. But Glen Elite, have fun with this showcase. So here's the thing. Harmonic Saint gets a lot of things here. You can see there's the pulse of purification right there, right? You can see people have 1.8k HP, but you can see their HP in the bottom right there of being 6.9k. This is a giant, by the way. This is just a normal giant. Here's the thing. Harmonic Saint changed how much anyone can do. Harmonic Saints inside the future will drastically change what goes on. And this is why I said like Echo Salvation is so much better, even in the future, just because of how much it's just changing by itself. It is changing so much inside almost everyone's gameplay. It's insane. Let's see if we can get. No, I can't. But let me just show you guys how much this does by itself. Just having this circle here, right, where the Harmonic Saint plays, and having this extra health from being Harmonic Saint itself. By the way, when you have this extra health, you can't receive any form of knockback. You basically have Iron Will all the time. That little circle that they provide as a Harmonic Saint, the circle in the middle, right? The circle, hang on, let's try to see if we can show it off at the right there. You see how it's healing people and giving us overhealth? Yeah, anyone within this circle will not be knocked down. They will constantly get healed. It will constantly deal damage. There's a healing tree. There is so much going on for a Harmonic Saint right now. And I mean this. This is so much stuff for a Harmonic Saint right now. This is placing down pulse purification on the ground. This is placing down a tree. This is the Harmonic Saints tree, by the way. This is also fading the boss. This is also constantly trying to upkeep damage while shooting her with archery, by the way, with just a normal like crossbow. The guy has a Nightbringer crossbow. I wish I could see his perspective because it is really insane. Because it is so much shit that is going on here, and I mean this. It is so much things that are going on. This overhealth from just being a Harmonic Saint is provided from a Harmonic Saint, from Echo Salvation, Hannah Salvation, also purification on the floor provides all this. And you could just see that he has like absolutely no health, but then out of nowhere, just having just like an Echo Salvation just out of nowhere puts him back up to 1.9k. This allows them to upkeep it, not get any damage. And let me just say, the damaging stacks when it comes to being Harmonic Saint in this part of Glen Elite, you know those circles right there? Those ones? Those things right there? Look at that. You saw that? I gotta show you guys this because Glen Elite is gonna be a little crazy for this one particular part. The bleed effects can go up to 750. That's 620 right there. That's because he was Harmonic Saint with his overhealth. It can head up to 750 on its stack. Those circles in the outer rim can stack you up to 750 in matter of 2 seconds. You cannot stay in those circles like at all. It changes everything. You will always need a Harmonic Saint inside Glen Elite because it is such a huge, and I mean this, such a huge disadvantage to not have a Harmonic Saint. And that's the main reason why we're seeing the Harmonic Saint changes and why we're seeing so many enchant changes coming in the future. Because they're going to give us some more health and stuff. This game is changing inside the late game and the end game drastically. And it's gonna be really fun. You know how funny it would be if we got the Glen Elite before the Harmonic and EK stuff? That'd be really funny. I wonder if I can find the perspective of the Glen Elites like in the background. Let me see if I can find it. No, this is just okay as well. That's a Dark Diviner right there. I didn't know about. Uh, really, I can find so you guys can see how crazy. Oh wait, no, Dark Diviner. Can't read it. Dark Diviner. They're completely drastically different, but I just cannot get it. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. Oh, it is. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys this part too. So this is a duo. All right, let's show them off first, shall we? This is a pair duo who's doing Glen Elite. Keep that in mind. We have our Harmonic Saint. And I think this is a chemical stinger, I believe. What was this one? Are they both a chemical stinger? Oh no, he's a chemical. But yeah, do you see how clean Pulse of Purification is now? You can actually see through it and stuff. Really nice, actually. It's actually really, really cool. But as you can see right there, the Echo Salvation, right? You see them at 2.3k, right? And then they get hit by this once, and they lost what I put 2.3k. That's how hard the boss hits, by the way. But you can see they use Hana Salvation on themselves, and they now have 4.3k HP over health right there. Right? They also gave it to them for 1.9k. That's legitimately the only thing the Hana Salvation is good for now. It's just to get that really huge buff of health. You can see right here that Hana Restoration is there. Like just a normal healing one. That's the only reason why that hit that high. But yeah, they're right now playing separately from each other. Let me just say, all of this all happens at Link 6, by the way. At Link 6, it does provide all these buffs of like not getting knocked back, you're not getting hit that hard. This over health thing happens at Link 6. Harmonic Saint in the future will drastically change everything that happens inside early and mid. It won't really change anything early game. Let me rephrase that. It would change a lot of things when it comes to mid and late. But you can see that it's just using just archery because that's the best thing you can use. Later on, Scythes will be introduced, and Scythes will be like the best thing for Harmonic Saints, but I'll talk about that like later on in late game. But as you can see, this is what legitimately how it looks like inside Glenburna. You can see that person's hitting 975 damage casually, nothing else. But you can see they are having constant uptime. They're constantly attacking. You can see they're just going and attacking and just keep attacking. That's all they need to do. They just move around just to do mechanics. Like they ignore everything else. As a Harmonic Saint, you don't got this. You have to constantly upkeep. You constantly need to protect your other teammates. You gotta constantly be doing debuffs. You can see here that they will start doing their debuff rotation here pretty soon. Look at that. They're death marking, even though the Chemical Singer is right there already. But they can't do it because that Chemical Singer needs to deal damage uptime. They need to constantly do it. And that's the biggest thing about Harmonic Saint. You have to always constantly have your other team members have their damage uptime. You're not the damage dealer. You are the support. You deal some damage, but your main focus is not damage dealing. You are supporting your teammates. Keep that in mind. That's all you need to do as your job. You need to constantly upkeep them. Constantly need to have your debuffs. You constantly need to do buffs on you. It is the most intense thing I have seen in a long while. And it is just so much to take in. And it's so much to like get used to. It is so much and it changes drastically with your weapon as well. And that's why archery is the most recommended. It's mostly because you can swap to archery and you can swap to your staff pretty consistently and really fast. And you don't need to depend on spells casting. You don't need to rely on Thunder. You don't need to rely on Fireball because they're just too long. They just take too long to cast as any Harmonic Saint. Hailstorm, too long. Ice Spear, too long. Blaze is actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. But anything else, right? It's just too long for any Harmonic Saint at any point of the game. It just takes too long to cast. That's why Harmonic Saints go for more of archery styles because it allows them to upkeep their damage, it allows them to upkeep to shoot constantly, and just constantly have it all up, right? You can see that even with the Chemical Stinger, they need to keep constantly shooting it. They moved from 14% just like that within a matter of 10 seconds. It brought it down to about 4%. Just because of the debuff constantly going up because of the Harmonic Saint. It is just so much stuff. I'm not trying to scare you guys about what Harmonic Saint is. I'm just trying to give you guys the truth about Harmonic Saint and how much it just really, really needs this large amount of of game knowledge. It is so much. It is so it looks so scary, but you gotta understand. Harmonic Saint isn't just one thing. It is just not one talent. It's not like EK where it just does one thing. It's not a Chemical Singer where it's selfish and it does is DPS. It's not like Dark Diviner with its ability. Harmonic Saint is the best supporter because it is the best versatile talent there. It is the best Arcana when it comes to best versatility. It is the best utility. It is the best burst healing and best damager because of its polar ruination. It is a supporter. It is not a healer. No matter what happens inside this entire fight, you can see they didn't even try to cast party healing, like hardly at all. And that's the whole point of Harmonic Saint. And that's the difference from a Harmonic Saint who's starting out in the game and a Harmonic Saint who's been playing the game. Thank you for everybody coming. Thanks for me just making it sound like it's such a drastic thing. Harmonic Saint is honestly really fun. Don't get me wrong, it's really scary and stuff, but anyone can do it. Okay? It just takes time. It takes practice. Mozzarella, you're stinky. Don't be afraid of Harmonic Saint. Take your time on it. Have fun with it, you know? Ah, just know you don't need to keep healing, okay? That's like the last thing you need to worry about as a Harmonic Saint. You allow your voice of vitality to heal. Let your blessing of protection actually protect things. You don't need to heal. Just let other things heal for you. You're not the healer. Get that through your mind. Just let Fate heal your team. Just allow Tree to heal your team. Allow Green Circle to heal your team. Allow Whale to heal the team. I'm a fake healer then. Yeah, you are. Just take your utilities and take advantage of it. Have fun with it. Don't allow people to take advantage of you and say it's your fault for not healing. Because that's not your job. If your teammate dies and they blame you because you're not healing them, that's a skill issue on them. That's all you need to say. That's on you, brother. No matter what happens, you're just a support character. You're supposed to debuff. You're supposed to buff. You're supposed to use your utilities. You're not the healer. All you can really do for your teammates is fate them. And if they really need the healing, then fine. Use hand and salvation. But don't go out of your way to start using party healing or normal healing. Don't do that. If your teammates can't handle the amount of damage that's incoming, then they should get ready to die. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, we don't really run Harmonic Saints almost anywhere. But it's always great and amazing to have a Harmonic Saint. And it's purely because of Polar Ruination. Polar Ruination is super overpowered. It's really nice to have. It's always nice to have at least one Harmonic Saint in the group, but don't prioritize on healing. Please prioritize on more supportive stuff and your utilities more. You would go a lot more further with your utility. You would go a lot more further with your supportiveness than just simply using party healing in the middle of the room. Believe me, if people are having, like, if they're having troubles, right? If they're having troubles, right, and they're just like going around and not using any of their resources, right? Like you see someone like super deadly and stuff, then fine, you can use Hand of Resurrection. That's fine. But please, I beg of you, if they're just this amount of healing and you need to go out of your way and use Hand of Resurrection on them, you just wasted your Hand of Resurrection for no reason. Absolutely no reason. Completely useless. You could have just used Echo Salvation. You could have used your Voice of Vitality that they should probably have on them already. I'm gonna be really frank. There's absolutely no reason for them to be dying or getting healed at all, to be honest. You should just Fate 5 them. There's a lot of options they can do when they're Fate 5. They can Thunder, they can Arrow Revolver, they can Bash, they can just simply just use Kunai Storm, they can use guns, Bullet Storm. It counts it all. You're ready for this one? If they're fighter, then they're kind of playing it. They use chains. You know what else gives them a lot of health? I could recover health like crazy. Spinning slasher. Not unable to spinning slasher, then chain sweep. It gives you iframes. I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. That's really weird or not. Crisis is an excellent one to recover health on because it counts every single target at Crisis. Why do people not notice? Why do people not talk about this? Why do you guys not talk about that? That's really weird that you guys don't. Why do you guys not talk about this kind of stuff? Fate 5 is really overpowered. I don't care what you guys say. Fate is just really tremendously powerful. You don't need to heal someone with this amount of HP with Hand of Resurrection. Don't do it. It's a waste of your cooldown. It's a waste of your mana. Just don't do it, brother. Just fate them. Just give them the simple 5-2-3-1 and get on with your life. Start dealing damage. Start shooting other stuff. Start shrinking out your bow. Crash saw something. Summon your puppets. Crisis something. Drops it. And that's it. If anything, if that DPSer, like a Chemical Singer, DD, or EK, are not fading themselves, brother, I'm gonna be honest, they might as well not be faded at all. If they're not gonna fate themselves, then don't even fate them. Now I'm joking. You should fate them, but still, does it matter to order team of and enemies? It does actually. You're going always fate the boss first, no matter what happens. No matter the scenario, you're always going to fate the boss first, and then start fating your teammates. Which one of the teammates should be going first to the bottom from the top to the bottom right? The best ones, honestly, the first one will be Dark Diviner, with its opening rotation. Second one will be a Comical Singer, and then the third one will be EK. And then lastly will be rebuffing, redebuffing the boss. You would never really fate yourself, only if you have spare time. There's just other options you have. It's just more helpful that way. It just does so much, and it provides you so much more support. Just know once Harmonic Saint update comes by, right? This entire like learning skill thing would not change because pulse purification is really powerful once the update happens, and Paul will always be the bread and butter no matter what happens. Paul will be always be the best thing that Harmonic Saints will bring to its field. Paul is really powerful, really disgusting, and I wish more Harmonic Saints used it more and not use it just like, oh, I'm gonna just use it just like that. I wish more Harmonic Saints called it out. The same reason for Bob. I wish more Harmonic Saints called it out because I don't think you understand how much people, including myself, will constantly just drop whatever they're doing and take advantage of Bop and Paula Rooney. All like I mean this. I have never, and I mean this. I have never in my life, in my experience in this game, have ever been like, okay, so I need to charge this up. I need to get ready for it for its next rotation whenever it does its slash. And all I hear is that I'm gonna bop. And you know what that does to me? I drop everything and I'm ready to fucking do my opener again. That's how good Bob and Paul are. Just hearing a team member just say, hey, I'm gonna bop this. Bam, drop everything you got. You're ready to do your opener again. You're ready for this? Golden time. Try soul. Bam. Get ready for your like DD, like explosion lunge, Thunder Blight. Get it ready. EK getting ready to support Raging Packet and Thunder Smash that thing. You are invincible. You're gonna take advantage of it. Same thing with Polar Ruination. Negative 45 protection and magic protection. Oh, no, no, no. I'm taking advantage of that. I don't care if I'm on my deathbed. I don't care that I'm in so deadly that even a gust of wind will blow me down. If I can shoot off my explosive lunge, my shadow flare, that is worth all the damage there is in the world. If I can just pull that off alone, I don't care what happens. If I can pull it off and hit it when that pull is going on, beautiful. And that's the whole thing about Harmonic saying. You need to call out. You're the shot caller, right? You're the debuffer. You're the buffer. You're the shot caller. You are the one who sees the entire board. You need to see everything that goes on. You cannot ignore your members. You cannot ignore the boss. You cannot ignore your surroundings. Harmonic Saint is the largest learning curve there is when it comes to Arcana. It is probably one of the more scarier Arcanas. It is one of the more expensive Arcanas out of all of them. It is probably the most utility based arcana. It is the most versatile arcana as well. So keep that in mind. This arcana is really disgusting. Oh man. All right. So, with that said, that's pretty much everything when it comes to early game to mid game to late game. There's not really much difference when it comes to late to early end game. If anything, we're gonna probably do late early in game than anything else. The only biggest difference that will happen when it comes to late to end game is actually depending on what you're doing with your teammates and your equipment than anything else. It's also take advantage of like some small little bits and tricks there, like when it comes to pre-buffing and buffing itself. So like little bits and things. Not too much. A lot of like everything that goes on in early game and mid game for Harmonic Saint will stay the same until reaching late game. Like between mid to late game, that's when Harmonic Saints will start to notice that they get really punished pretty harshly. Don't worry. With the update with Harmonic Saint, it will make that mid to late game more enjoyable because of the knockback down and stuff. But once it comes to late to end, when it comes to late to end game, it's gonna drastically change a lot. When it comes to a lot of people's rotations and a lot of people's like, depending on how much health bar they have and stuff, it would drastically change a lot of stuff. That's all. An album guide somewhere I can look at. What do you mean an album guide? Oh, I could just use like us. Ba, 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 ba. Sorry, I need to put that out. I'm just gonna put that down as my balance. Because I was showing this to Ingrid like yesterday or 2 days ago actually, because they asked me the same question. So I might as well explain it for anything. Yeah, let me change it. What the? There we go. Alright, so let me explain how these totems actually work and what they do. So totems from the Alban totem, or even the other ones from old. The other one called. It's like uh what's it again? Where? Oh, hold on. What's that name? Orange Commander emblem? I don't know. Okay, so these totems, Erdon and the other one, right? They work a little different whenever they're activated or stuff like that. I think I'm pretty sure. I don't. Surprising. There you are. You know, I'll honestly make an argument that the Fate Totem is better on Roxanne just because 10 extra seconds. But yeah, these two cannot be activated at the same time. I should tell everyone that right now, that you can't have these two activated at the same time. It won't allow you. You can only have one or the other activated. Which one you want the most? I would argue that if you're not fading a lot, then I would argue the Albin Totem is much better because the amount of max and crit max that you can get out of it, right? The most you can get up to is up to 5 levels, right? The highest you can get out of sharpness when it comes to max is an additional 25 more max, or for magic attack, it's 25 more max. Or sorry, 25 more magic attack actually. And the critical damage can go up to 5, which is, 7 per level. So it's almost 25. It's up to like 30 right there. So whatever you like, pretty much like if you prefer more crit damage is for more alchemical stingers. Max damage is more recommended for EKs, and magic attack will be used for dark diviners. Uh, for Harmonic Saints, it would be mostly Fate Totem, just because the 10 extra seconds would be really nice. But let me explain what each one, how to actually utilize the Albin one here. So let's say this, right? Let's say let's see, remove that one, remove this one because they're the ones that most people will try to go for. Let's say your body is HP and your mana is the magic attack one, and you're using crit damage, right? And let's say you have them as level 3 for HP. And let's say you have magic attack as level 4 and your crit damage as level 2. All right. Now, anyone with common sense, right, or has some like form, not common sense, sorry. So anyone that has like experience with totems before will know that this totem will explode, even if you get another line, right? Like getting like another extra line. Let's say we got intuitive and we want to give ints, right? So what this will happen, right? Is that if we try to combine them, right, there is a high likely chance that it will explode. And the reason why it will explode is because trying to add in a fourth line onto these totems, like to either both of them, will have a high chance of exploding it. So keep that in mind. Anything past 3 will explode it. This is the same thing when it comes to the line. Any 3 lines, it's perfectly fine. Any more than that has a chance to explode. So 4 or 5, it might explode. It's the same thing with the numbers. That's why I give them numbers. 3, 4 has a chance to explode. 2 upgrading to 3 won't explode. But 3 upgrading to 4 will explode, and 4 upgrading to 5 will explode. So keep that in mind. These do have chances to explode. Change that real fast. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so let me explain what's happening here, though, what the difference is. So if you don't want to explode this, right? If you really want to hit that 4 and 5 or magic attack up to 4, 2, and all that stuff, or if you want your crit damage to go all the way up to 5, right? You want to be safe, right? You don't want to risk it or like risk the biscuit. You worked hard on it. You're like, yes, I finally got the perfect 5/5/5, right? You got your magic attack, you got your crit damage, you got your HP. That's like 25. That's like 50 more health right there, right? That's nice. What you can do, right, is that anything that's related to mana. Let's say this one is MP1, and this one for sharpness has, let's say, balance one. You don't need to throw them away. You can completely use them and they will provide the extra amount right there of the crit damage, max attack, and HP. Here's the beauty of this, right? And this is what I strongly recommend people doing first before entering. I strongly recommend, right, that your more important ones will be magic attack. Let's say you got it up to 3, and your crit damage because maybe you're a mage, you want to use crit damage because it increases your damage for as a mage, and that's 3 as well. Now you know that your next thing will happen is that you're going to fail it. You only have 2 out of chances, right? If we take off the body, you only have 2 out of 3 chance of it exploding now, right? You can either explode it with its magic attack or crit damage, right? Both of them have a chance to explode, but you don't have a dirt line yet. So that's where HP comes in. HP 1. So if you combine this one right now, and it doesn't have this line right here, right? This body one. If you combine this one, and it successfully puts on the HP one, right? It would give it 1 level. And it won't explode the totem, even if the magic attack and crit damage failed. Now, let's say you have like a random one that has like strength on it because it's RNG. It gives you strength, MP, and balance. This is perfectly fine. You can stick it onto this and it will increase your HP. Let's say you successfully hit the HP one, right? And you successfully hit the magic attack one. Congratulations. But you failed the crit one. It didn't went up. But it doesn't explode it because it successfully got this one and this one, right? Now let's try it again. Let's put this strength and like let's say our RNG gave us defense, it gave us magic attack, and it gave us like max on it, right? You see one of them is like exactly the same as yours, right? You're like, oh yes, this will increase it, right? No, it won't. Instead, what this does is that it does nothing to HP. It failed on the HP roll. It failed on your magic attack, but it did went up on your crit damage. So it kept the totem. That's perfectly fine. This is perfect. This is actually the perfect scenario for you. You now have a 2 out this, upgrading and not failing, right? And it will protect the entire totem. If any of these 2 fail and this gets successfully added, it won't break it. So let's do it once again. Let's upgrade it once more. Bam. These fail, but perfectly fine. Now, this is probably the worst scenario. This is the worst scenario it can be, where this is now 3 and you both 4, 4, 4. Now you have a 1 out of 3 chance of exploding. But the other chances are now up to 3 out of 4, right, of exploding. This increases your chance of not exploding. So what can happen is that this can go up to 4, this can go up to 5, which is perfectly fine. And if you really want to risk it for the biscuit, because this no longer can fail, right? So you don't need this anymore. You can now roll it on 2. But keep in mind, if you do fail on both of them, it will explode the thing. So you might think the best thing to do is add in a new line, which is completely wrong. Don't do this. Adding in a new line can destroy it too. So keep in mind. So the best scenario you can do, right, is to keep these at 3, right? And you could just keep it like this and just go up for 4. Just at least get one of them a 4. If you can't get one of them a 4, then don't even bother trying to get for the third line. All right? What you do is just keep it like that, keep it like this. If you can get at least one of them a 4, then you should start going for the third line. That's the perfect scenario you can do. That's basically the best thing you can do to not allow it to explode. This is the only way you can do it. And if you keep trying, keep giving it the best as much as you like, the best outcome you can have out of this is probably this, which is a 3/5/5 as a Dark Diviner. And as a EK player, this is the best one. And as a Chemical Stinger, this is the best one. This is the best for a Chemical Stinger and Dark Diviner. And this is the best for EK. So just keep that in mind. Just have fun with it. Take advantage of it. It's kind of the same for this totem. but they have different ones. They have like Unified Minds. They have Phantasmal Sight, damage increase, Fate Weaver, duration. Um, there was something that it does to Tenacious Time. I think it increases its duration, I think, but it's not a lot, to be honest. The biggest one on it actually is Zone of Renewal. I don't think you understand how big Zone of Renewal actually gets. Check this out, right? Zone of Renewal, when it gets increased by totem, right? Let's say, let's place it like on top of this thing right here. Oh, no, it doesn't. Let's put down a red circle, right? All right, so this is how big Zone of Renewal is. That's huge, right? And guess what? It's only level 3. No, it's not even level 3. It's level 2. It's 1 centimeter bigger. That's all it is. That's how huge it is. It's really cool. It's fantastic. And you know how big it is whenever you deactivate it? This is the normal size. That's it. It's the same size as Fantastic Chorus. Isn't that fantastic? 1 extra meter brings it out that much more. It's crazy. It's really nice. Don't doubt Tree. Tree is actually really big. Tree is really powerful. Do not doubt the tree. Tree is really powerful. I know a lot of people say tree is pretty useless. It doesn't heal a lot because it says 2% HP, MP, and stamina, right? Within 7 meters. This can get increased up to 10 meters because of the what's it called? The totem itself will increase on it. Here's the thing about this tree, which makes it so good, what makes it so powerful. The Zone of Renewal is ridiculously overpowered because of one main reason. And I will point to it for you here. You ready for this? See that? See that right there? Ignore this. Ignore everything that's up here. See that 5 and 1? You know why Zone of Renewal is so big? This healing stacks, quote unquote, before recovery, right? If you're in the tree for 5 seconds, right? Low key, right? This little thing that happens right here, this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you can walk out of it and get back in it. And you would still have the 5 stacks. And you know what's the best part of this thing? Right? You know why tree is so overpowered, but yet so underutilized by so many people? The biggest thing you can do with tree, right? Whenever you're inside deadly, right? Is that if you're in it for even a moment, it can get you out of deadly. Up to 5 stacks, it will get you out of deadly all the time. Always. It will remove poisoning. It will remove sulfur poisoning. It removes deadly whenever you're in the Zone of Renewal with 5 stacks. It's just that overpowered. That's the biggest thing about it. And that's why I think being in deadly and using Hand of Salvation is so useless because you can legitimately use anything else. Tree saves people. And that's why I have it on my tech page of my like, oh shit, I'm gonna die moment with my Iron Well, Tree, Vital, and Tenacious Tom and Defiance. It's because I need to put my Tenacious Tom on my pet as soon as possible. Put this tree up before anything else. And if my Vital dies off, because it can happen, Vital can die off pretty easily. Like a good example is Yeti critting on you. Defiance is like the last resort thing because Defiance can set off twice. Defiance sets off whenever you're in deadly, and Defiance sets off whenever you're dead. That's the best thing about Defiance. Just because it has a 30% chance to set off, doesn't mean you should ignore it. 30% chance, adamantly, makes this 30% chance up to another 30%. 30% plus 30%, right, is 40%. All right. That's easy calculations right there. That's simple 101 stuff, right? It's legitimately increases it up to 40%. And then that's not even counting like your Defiance set that you can swap to instantly. And that's not including whales that also have this, but at 20%. And it can happen at deadly and when you die. And because the tree always keeps you out of deadly, this means you can set off being in deadly every single second you're in tree. That's why tree is so powerful and why Defiance is so powerful with it on top. Don't ignore tree. Tree is so good and so overpowered, and it can be utilized, and it's so nice. Don't ignore your tech pages. Don't ignore like little things like that. The only one I should honestly tell you to ignore is honestly Shield, because Shield is god awful, and Protective Touch are both really bad. These are the only two I strongly recommend not upgrading because they're pretty awful. Continuous Awakening is so situational, but it's so good for a Chemical Singer. It's really good. Unified Might is very situational as well, but really good too with the right hands. Zone of Renewal is very overpowered for what it is. Tenacious Taunt is really great, and it can be really utilized really strongly. It can be on your Soul Link pets. It can be placed on your puppet. And I don't think you understand how powerful it is to put it on just a puppet itself, right? I could just simply just place like that, right? And just shoot it off and just forget about it. That's it. Puppets have over 50 protection when it's linked off with the right pair of bars. And whenever you're linked onto it, it has over 170 protection. Just by with the right upgrades, like a repair of rev bars or something like that, can honestly do that. And if you really want it to be really tanky, the thing is, right, is that you can apply this and just go get your bars with this ultimate where it can be invincible for 15 seconds. This gives you enough time to allow Tenacious Taunt to be on it with exactly up to 25 seconds and allow all the stuff to be on the puppets for that 15 seconds of duration. It's really nice, and if you really, really need that extra more of like tankiness, and there's a reason why they're trying to back away from puppets a lot, it's because they completely forgot about this one small scenario. Have fun trying to go through 250 protection, brother. Have fun with that. Have fun with that knowledge. Also, whenever you disconnect it, it does have 130 protection. Really cool. Act 9 is really cool. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of people ignore it. Come on, Puppet, let's go. Really nice. Really cool. Have fun with that knowledge. That you can have a bodyguard with you all the time, constantly, with your puppet, with your doll, right? You have your Soul Link, there's this thing around you, and then you just have bears around you, like, mercenary scrolls. There should be really no reason to you for having anything on you. And if you're a Harmonic Saint, just heal your puppet whenever it's in danger. That's legitimately all you can really do for it. And if you really want more aggression off you, just have your golem. Have fun with all this aggression that could get off you. So much aggression. So much fun. Don't underutilize any of this stuff. It's really fun. All right. Let's get to the best part, shall we? Let's see here. Well, there's a lot of people streaming today. All right, who we're rating today? Before I get you guys with ads, because I don't want you guys to get ads before anything else happens. Exactly. Yeah, no worries, man. What are we going for? Going for the Odd Fox? I never rated them. I'm not really sure what they do. What they do? This summer, Transformer. Oh, nah, fuck that. No one cares about that. We all care about the animation. Check this shit out. This looks awesome. Yeah. Look how beautiful the animation is. It's so pretty. It looks so lively. Like just the background itself. Her, I don't like her. Like everything else that's going on, the background is absolutely gorgeous. Just look at the background, look at the coloration. But then you have a transformer that doesn't even have the right shadowing. Just look how out of place it is. Like it just looks so ugly, like the Transformers. But look how beautiful the background is. It's so pretty and everything. But then you just have these Transformers that kind of just contracts everything. It looks so well done, right? It looks lovely, but it's pretty silly though. All right, let's see who we're reading. We're reading the Fox dude, I guess, right? Down to an ad. The Odd Fox. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, let's not get you guys with any ads, all right? But yeah, thanks for everyone for coming in today. As you guys all to like tomorrow, we're actually going to be talking about something else. We're actually going to be talking about puppetry. That's for tomorrow. So yeah, have fun with that. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about puppetry. We're going to start talking about talents. Yeah, we're going to talk about all the talents. We're going to be starting off with puppetry. Woo! Puppetry. Yeah, they're not going to be like really long. They're actually going to be really short. They're going to be talking about like um they're honestly going to be talking about like we're going to be talking about like everything that goes on for puppetry and all the other talents. Like it doesn't get into depth like Arcana does. Arcana is like its own thing where it gets like inside of it. It's time. What's time, bro? What's going on? What are we doing? What are we doing? Datas right now? We can stream it or something. I'm looking to raid out. Are we streaming it or are we not streaming? I don't mind either way. You finish your raid? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say I was like, wait, are we doing that? I was just talking about how I'm gonna be talking about all the talents now. We finished up Arcana for now for early, mid, and late game. We will talk about Arcana when it comes to early end game and end game. Because everything when it comes to Arcana, when it comes to early end game and end game, would drastically change its rotation. It would drastically change its gear. It's where the min maxing comes from now. We now finally have the basic knowledge of rotations when it comes to Arcana now. We know our basic rotation when it comes to like our Dark Diviner, our Chemical Stinger stuff. We know like the basics of that stuff, you know. We know our basic rotation about that. We know our basic EK now. You know, we have all that stuff. Now it's time to learn what late, like early end game and end game rotations are. Because end game, like early end game and end game rotations would drastically change how EK rotation will look like. DDA rotation will basically be the same. I'm not gonna lie, it will look exactly the same, but a Chemical Stinger will change drastically. But yeah, with that said, guys, I hope you have a great day. See you guys tomorrow for learning all the talents one by one. We're gonna be starting with puppetry. We'll probably do dual guns later and ninja later. But yeah, see ya.